After her husband passed away, the mother of two daughters found a job with a wealthy woman. She endured her bad temper and moods, but during an event, she sat at the piano. Maria had always been dedicated to her family, but a tragic accident reveals dark secrets from Joao's past. Alone, with two daughters to care for, she finds herself in a restaurant in crisis, where a new chance at life awaits her. Between painful discoveries and an unexpected romance, Maria must find the strength to move forward. Maria had always been a woman dedicated to her family. Married to Joao for nearly 2 decades, she gave up a promising career to focus on the home and take care of their two daughters, Ana and Beatriz. Joao was a hardworking man, and to Maria he seemed like the ideal husband. They lived a quiet life in a simple yet cozy house. Everything changed when Joao was involved in a car accident and passed away. The news devastated Maria and the daughters, leaving them in deep mourning. Days after the funeral, as Maria was cleaning the house in an attempt to occupy her mind and stave off the sadness, she found a letter hidden at the back of a drawer in Joao's office. Curious and slightly fearful, she opened the envelope and began to read. The contents of the letter left her in shock. Joao confessed to having a second family. He revealed that years ago, he met another woman with whom he had a child. He had never known how to tell Maria the truth, and in his final written words, he asked for forgiveness for his betrayal. The discovery was a devastating blow. Maria felt her world crumble around her. The pain of losing her husband now mixed with the pain of betrayal, creating an even deeper wound. She sat on the office floor, holding the letter with trembling hands as silent tears streamed down her face. The image of the faithful and devoted husband shattered before her eyes. She thought about how everything seemed like a lie, questioning every moment of happiness they had shared. "How could he deceive me for so long?" she murmured to herself, still in disbelief. Despite the anguish, Maria knew she couldn't let herself completely fall apart. The bills kept coming, and she had two daughters to take care of. Ana and Beatriz were still young and needed stability, something she was now solely responsible for providing. She decided to keep the letter and maintain the secret, at least for the time being. She didn't want the girls to know the truth about their father. The pain and disappointment were burdens she chose to carry alone. One night, while they were having dinner, Ana asked, "Mom, Dad never had secrets, did he? He always seemed so transparent." Maria froze for a moment, feeling a lump in her throat. "Course not, dear. He was a good man," Maria replied, trying to hide the pain in her voice. Beatriz, still too young, just looked on with curiosity, not understanding the depth of the conversation. With a newfound determination, Maria decided she needed to find a job. The life she had known was forever changed, and she had to adapt to survive and protect her daughters. Each night, after the girls were asleep, she cried silently, releasing the pain of a betrayal that consumed her. But the next day, she would get up, get dressed, and continue the fight. Maria was determined not to let the revelation destroy her family. Maria, with no work experience outside the home, found herself in a challenging situation. The savings Joao left behind were scarce, and time was pressing to ensure her daughter's support. She started looking for jobs that didn't require advanced qualifications. After days of relentless searching and some frustrating interviews, Maria finally found an opportunity as a dishwasher at La Bellevue, a luxurious and renowned restaurant in the city. La Bellevue was managed by Dona Elsa, an elderly woman known for both her culinary taste and her difficult temperament. Dona Elsa was an imposing figure, with her white hair always impeccably arranged and a critical eye that seemed to notice even the smallest details. The restaurant staff feared and respected her, for despite her constant complaints and demands, Elsa was also known for her unexpected generosity, helping those who truly needed it. On her first day at work, Maria felt out of place. Her hands, once well cared for, quickly became rough and dry from constant contact with water and detergents. The work was heavy, and the kitchen environment was chaotic. "Maria, you need to be faster with those dishes," one of the cooks said urgently. She nodded, trying not to let the fatigue overwhelm her. Despite the difficulties, Maria felt grateful for the opportunity. Each day was a battle to keep her head up and hide the pain of grief and betrayal. However, she found a kind of solace in the exhausting work routine. The repetition of tasks gave her a sense of normalcy that she desperately needed. Gradually, Maria earned Dona Elza's trust. The restaurant owner, though maintaining her rigid posture, began to show signs of appreciation for Maria's dedicated work. "You are a strong woman, Maria. Don't let anyone make you think otherwise," Dona Elza said one evening as they were closing the restaurant. There was something in Maria's calm and determination that reminded Elza of herself from a time when she was still fighting to build her business. Meanwhile, Maria continued to take care of her daughters, who deeply missed their father. Anna, the eldest, was in her teens and started asking tough questions about life and death. "Mom, why do bad things happen to good people?" Anna asked, looking into Maria's eyes with an intensity that nearly made her cry. "Sometimes life is unfair, dear," Maria replied, trying to find comforting words. "But we need to stay strong, no matter what happens." Beatriz, younger, just wanted the comfort of a normal routine. "When is Dad coming back, Mom?" she asked innocently one night. Maria felt a sharp pain in her chest but forced a smile. "Dad is in a very beautiful place now, dear, and he will always watch over us, even from afar." Maria struggled to be strong for them, hiding her own pains and worries. She knew she had to be the rock for her daughters, even if it meant swallowing her own suffering. Every day at La Bellevue was an opportunity for a fresh start, a chance to build a new life for herself and her girls. The restaurant La Bellevue had a classic charm, but financial difficulties were becoming increasingly evident. Maria, now more integrated into the team, noticed that the customer flow was dwindling and that Dona Elza seemed more and more worried. The bills were high and the cash flow was low. Elza, despite her tough exterior, was a proud woman and didn't easily admit the difficulties she was facing. However, rumors among the staff about the restaurant's imminent closure were becoming more frequent. One evening, after closing time, Maria found Dona Elza sitting alone at one of the tables, with a distant look. Feeling the need to talk, Dona Elza confided in Maria about the restaurant's financial situation. "We're on the brink of bankruptcy, Maria," Elza admitted with a trembling voice. "I don't know how much longer we can keep the doors open." The revelation was a shock, but Maria, driven by a sense of gratitude and a desire to help, suggested an idea: hosting a gala event at the restaurant. Maria's idea was to organize a special night with an exclusive menu and live music, attracting a clientele willing to pay a higher price for the unique experience. The proposal included refined decor and an atmosphere reminiscent of La Bellevue's golden days. Dona Elza, after a moment of consideration, accepted the suggestion with a mix of relief and skepticism. "It's a good idea, Maria. Perhaps our last chance," Elza said with a faint smile. With the date set, everyone at the restaurant got involved in the preparations. Maria stood out in coordinating important details, from choosing the decor to selecting the dishes to be served. She dedicated herself with passion, perhaps seeing the restaurant's salvation as a metaphor for her own life, which also needed a fresh start. Despite her fragile health, Dona Elza closely followed everything, showing a softer and more affectionate side that few knew. "You have a gift, Maria. Don't waste it," Elza once commented, surprising Maria with the compliment. Meanwhile, at home, Anna and Beatriz noticed the change in their mother. "Mom seems happier," Anna observed one night, as Maria told stories about work. "She's finding her way, Anna," Beatriz replied with a wisdom beyond her years. The girls supported Maria, trying to help as best they could, whether by taking care of each other or helping with household chores. The gala event began to be publicized in the city, and expectations grew. Maria, who had previously been just a basic-level employee, now had a central role in organizing the event. She felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. During the nights, after work, she devoted herself to her daughters, who began to notice the positive change in their mother. Maria seemed more animated and hopeful, something they hadn't seen since Joao's death. The big day finally approached, and all the details were being carefully aligned. The tension and anxiety were palpable, but there was also a sense of unity among the staff. Maria knew that the night could be the new beginning everyone needed, both for the restaurant and for her own life. The last piece of the puzzle was ensuring that everything went perfectly, and that included a surprise that even she hadn't anticipated. The night of the gala event arrived with great anticipation. The restaurant La Belle Vie was impeccably decorated. Soft lights illuminated the environment, while fresh flower arrangements added a touch of elegance. The guests began to arrive, and the atmosphere was pure sophistication. Maria, dressed in a more elegant uniform than usual, felt her heart race. She had helped to put together every detail of that night, and now everything needed to go perfectly. However, an unexpected tragedy struck the night. Just before the official start of the event, Dona Elsa, who had been struggling with health issues, suffered a sudden illness. The elderly lady was quickly taken to the hospital, leaving Maria and the other staff in a state of panic. Elsa's absence at such a crucial moment created a leadership void, but Maria, despite the shock, knew she had to act. With silent determination, she took control. In the midst of the chaos, a new crisis arose. The pianist hired for the night was late. Music was a fundamental part of the event, and without it, the atmosphere risked losing its charm. With no time to find an alternative solution, Maria did something no one expected. She approached the piano, sat down, and with trembling hands, began to play. It wasn't just an attempt to save the night. For Maria, playing was an expression of her repressed emotions, a way of dealing with all the turmoil of the past months. At first, the audience fell silent, surprised to see one of the employees take on such an unexpected role. However, as the notes flowed, a wave of emotion began to sweep through the room. Maria played with a passion that captivated everyone present. The melody was both melancholic and hopeful, reflecting her own journey of loss and rediscovery. Her skill at the piano, until then unknown to everyone there, turned out to be a touching surprise. At the end of the first piece, the silence in the room was broken by warm applause. Maria, still seated at the piano, felt tears of relief and emotion run down her face. The guests, many of whom didn't know her story, were moved by the sincerity of her performance. The event, which was at risk of being a disaster, was now an unexpected success. As the event continued, Maria kept control of the operations, ensuring everything ran smoothly. The news of the event's success quickly reached the hospital, where Dona Elsa was being treated. For Maria, the night was a mix of triumph and sadness. She knew that, regardless of the final outcome, she had done her best to honor the trust that Dona Elsa had placed in her. Later, reflecting on the night, Maria wondered if João, in some way, would have been proud of her courage. "Did he know I was capable of so much?" she thought, as she looked at her still trembling hands. Music, which had been a passion abandoned for the sake of the family, now seemed like a path to healing. Maria was beginning to rediscover herself, and this was just the beginning. The morning after the event brought tragic news. Dona Elsa had not survived and had passed away during the night. The news was a devastating blow to everyone at the restaurant. Elsa was more than a boss. To many, she was a maternal figure, someone who, despite her harsh criticisms, deeply cared about the well-being of her employees. Maria felt a deep sadness for the loss of Elsa, a woman who, even in her most difficult moments, had shown her kindness and trust. Despite the sadness, the gala event was a resounding success. The restaurant was fully booked for the coming weeks, and the news that an employee had saved the night by playing the piano spread throughout the city. Maria became a sort of local heroine, although she didn't feel comfortable with the attention. To her, playing the piano that night had been an emotional necessity, a way of dealing with her own feelings. A few days after Elsa's passing, Maria was called to a meeting with Roberto, Dona Elsa's son. Roberto was a reserved man who had, until then, kept a certain distance from the restaurant's affairs. During the meeting, he thanked Maria for everything she had done to save the event and, by extension, the restaurant. "My mother always had a good eye for recognizing talent. She spoke highly of you, Maria," Roberto said with a melancholic smile. Maria was touched, feeling a mix of sadness and gratitude. Roberto explained that, Despite the pain of losing his mother, he was determined to continue Elsa's legacy and keep La Belle Vie running. To Maria's surprise, Roberto made an unexpected proposal. He wanted her to take on the management of the restaurant alongside him. He had observed her work and leadership during the event and believed that Maria had the potential to help take the restaurant to new heights. Maria was stunned. The idea of becoming the manager of La Belle Vie was something she had never imagined. She felt a mix of fear and excitement. This meant enormous responsibility, but it was also an opportunity to transform her life and provide a better future for her daughters. "I don't know if I'm ready for this, Roberto. It's a big responsibility," Maria said nervously. Roberto looked at her seriously. "Maria, you've already proven you're capable of great things. I trust you." After reflecting, Maria accepted Roberto's proposal. The decision was met with enthusiasm by the staff, who saw her as a natural leader. The transition was gradual, but Maria began to take on more responsibilities, from menu planning to staff management. Roberto and Maria formed a solid partnership based on mutual respect and a common goal: to honor Dona Elsa's memory and ensure the continued success of the restaurant. Over time, the relationship between Maria and Roberto went beyond the professional partnership. They began to share confidences and leisure moments, developing a genuine friendship. Roberto, who had always been reserved, found in Maria someone he could open up to. Maria's daughters also grew fond of Roberto, who became a constant and caring presence in their lives. Anna, in particular, found in him someone she could talk to openly about her concerns and dreams. Maria, in turn, began to realize that, despite the difficulties and challenges, she was building something new and positive in her life. She had become a strong and independent woman, capable of facing adversity and finding new opportunities. Roberto's support and the acceptance of her daughters in this new phase were fundamental to her transformation. As time passed, the connection between Maria and Roberto strengthened, evolving from a solid friendship into a deep love. Both found comfort and joy in each other's company, building a new family dynamic along with Anna and Beatriz. Roberto, who had recently lost his mother, felt comforted by the presence of Maria and her daughters, who offered him a sense of home he hadn't experienced in a long time. The restaurant La Belle Vie, under the new management of Maria and Roberto, thrived. The combination of Maria's vision for the business and Roberto's logistical support transformed the restaurant into an even more welcoming and renowned place. They introduced new ideas, such as themed nights and special events, attracting a diverse clientele and keeping Dona Elsa's memory alive. The piano, which Maria had played on the night of the gala event, became a central piece, and she occasionally graced the guests with her music, always met with enthusiasm. "Maria, you are the soul of this place," Roberto said one day, as they watched the restaurant filled with satisfied customers. "And you are the heart, Roberto," she replied, smiling. The two laughed, sharing a moment of complicity that symbolized the strong and loving partnership they had built. Over time, Roberto realized he wanted Maria and the girls to be a permanent part of his life. One quiet evening, after a busy day at the restaurant, he took Maria for a walk in the park. Under the stars, he confessed his feelings and proposed to Maria. "Maria, you brought light into my life at a time of darkness. I want to spend the rest of my days by your side. Will you marry me?" Maria, surprised and moved, accepted with tears in her eyes. She knew life had given her a second chance at happiness, and she was determined to make the most of it. The wedding was an intimate and warm celebration with close friends and family. The restaurant, decorated with flowers and soft lights, served as the perfect venue for the ceremony and reception. Anna and Beatriz were radiant, happy to see their mother finding happiness again. For them, Roberto was already a father figure, someone they could trust and count on. The love and respect they felt for him grew with each passing day. In their new life together, Maria and Roberto created an environment of love and support for Anna and Beatriz. The girls thrived under the caring attention of their new parents, finding stability and joy in their new family. The restaurant continued to prosper, with Maria taking on an increasingly prominent role in the local community. She became a respected and admired figure, not only for her culinary and musical talent, but also for her resilience and courage. "You're an incredible woman, Maria," a regular customer said one day, as Maria passed by the tables. "Thank you for sharing your strength with all of us." Maria smiled, feeling truly happy. She looked back at the past with gratitude for the challenges she had faced, as they had led her to a place of peace and happiness she never imagined was possible. The pain of losing João and discovering his betrayal had been healed by the love and new beginning she found with Roberto and her daughters. La Bellevue was not just a restaurant. It was a symbol of rebirth and new opportunities, a place where love stories and tales of overcoming continued to be written every day. Thus, Maria and Roberto, along with Ana and Beatriz, lived happily, building a life full of love, music, and good memories. There.